Clayface may not initially come to mind as one of Batman's most prominent foes, especially when you consider more iconic villains like the Joker, Catwoman, the Penguin, Hugo Strange, the Scarecrow, and Two-Face, all of whom debuted alongside the Dark Knight in his early days. However, over the decades, Batman has amassed an impressive rogues gallery, and Clayface has certainly left his mark. Unlike many of Batman's adversaries, who are ordinary humans with extraordinary skills or gimmicks, Clayface stands out due to his unique shape-shifting superpower, which really sets him apart in Batman's world, where most villains rely on their intelligence, technology, or combat prowess. Despite his distinctive abilities, Clayface has never had a consistent, defined alter ego, adding to his mystique. Recent reports suggest that Clayface is set to make an appearance in The Batman 2, and while many fans were first introduced to Clayface through Batman the Animated Series and the Arkham video games, there is a lot more to this character than meets the eye. In the core DC universe alone, there are actually 11 different individuals who have taken up the mantle of Clayface, and that does not even include the other variations found in alternate universes. What's fascinating is that each of these Clayfaces has unique origins and powers that differentiate them from the most iconic version of the character. One particular iteration of Clayface, often less recognized, might offer clues about how this multifaceted villain could fit into Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's second Batman film, especially if the enigmatic Hush becomes one of the movie's other antagonists. So without wasting another moment, let's delve deeper into this murky pool of different Clayface variants to ever exist in the DC universe. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Basil Karlo. The first Golden Age Clayface in Batman's rogues gallery was Basil Karlo, who was originally just an actor with a unique talent for changing his facial appearance. However, his descent into madness occurred when he discovered that his classic horror film, Dread Castle, was being remade without him, even though he was supposed to be part of the advisory team. This revelation drove him over the edge, leading him to adopt a clay mask and embark on a gruesome murder spree among the cast of the remake, following the order and method of the character's deaths in the film. Batman and Robin eventually intervened, thwarting his murderous rampage and sending him to prison. However, he resurfaced when the prison ambulance transporting him toppled off a cliff. Once again, he assumed the identity of Clayface and set his sights on Julie Madison, Bruce Wayne's fiancée and up-and-coming actress, until Batman and Robin intervened to stop him. Making his debut in Detective Comics number 40, the original Clayface remains an iconic and somewhat darker figure in Batman's history. Karlo's character was named after the legendary horror actors Boris Karloff and Basil Rathbone. Over the years, his character evolved, eventually taking on the monstrous form associated with his successors. In later retcons, Karlo's character was portrayed as younger and with varying degrees of evil. He even teamed up with Batman in James Tynion IV's Detective Comics series. While he's considered more heroic these days, Basil Karlo will always be remembered for his golden days as a villain. In his Bronze Age version, Basil Karlo shared a similar origin as his Golden Age version of Clayface.
Come on, Hagen, we're going for a little ride. Forget it!
Matt Hagen. Matt Hagen, the second Clayface in Batman's world, was the first to possess shape-shifting powers. Unlike Basil Karlo, his comic book origin story had him as a treasure hunter who encountered radioactive protoplasm in a cave, granting him temporary abilities to transform, lasting for about 48 hours after each exposure to the protoplasm. In Batman the Animated Series, Hagen's character merged with Karlo's, portraying him as an actor transformed into Clayface, where he was portrayed as a struggling actor who resorted to an experimental anti-aging treatment, which inadvertently turned him into Clayface. However, in the comics, Matt Hagen's legacy is less celebrated. His debut in Detective Comics number 298 introduced him as a shape-shifting villain, but he lacked the depth and prominence seen in other Batman foes. While he played a notable role in the Mudpack storyline, his appearances remained sporadic. During the Silver Age, he sometimes faced Batman and Superman, and even joined forces with Brainiac. Nevertheless, even if Matt Hagen is recognized as the first shape-shifting Clayface, his comic book counterpart has not enjoyed the same acclaim as his animated counterparts. Todd Russell. Probably the darkest rendition of Clayface, Todd Russell made his debut in Catwoman issue number 1. While his background remains shrouded in mystery, it is known that he had a military background and was subjected to government experiments, possibly after the DEO. After escaping the laboratory where he gained shape-shifting powers, Russell embarked on a killing spree in Gotham City, using his abilities to lure victims to their demise. His unique twist was that he clashed with a different Gotham hero, Catwoman, rather than Batman. Catwoman eventually confronted and defeated Russell, preserving his severed head in a freezer. Though his origins remain unclear, in subsequent appearances, Catwoman later freed him when he was imprisoned at Star Labs. Johnny Williams. In Batman Gotham Knights issue number 60, Johnny Williams emerged as a firefighter who unwittingly transformed into a new Clayface following a chemical explosion. Manipulated by the vengeful Hush, Williams mimicked both Hush's identity and Jason Todd, aiming to unsettle Batman. Beyond his shape-shifting abilities, William also infected Alfred with a mind-controlling virus, compelling the butler to commit murder. However, a change of heart led Williams to cure Alfred and clear his name of the murder charges. In the end, he met his demise while assisting Batman in thwarting Hush. While Johnny Williams remains an obscure Clayface, his role in the Hush storyline marked a significant chapter in Batman's history. Rumors of Hush's involvement in the Batman 2 film may create an intriguing comic book connection with Johnny Williams, considering their history in the original Batman Hush story. In that tale, Williams' transformation into Clayface, orchestrated by Hush and the Riddler, played a crucial part in their conspiracy against Batman before his eventual redemption and tragic end. Clownface. One of the most bizarre versions of Clayface is known as Clownface. This peculiar entity came into existence when the Joker exposed a semi-sentient fragment of Clayface to his Joker venom, transforming it into a grotesque monster under his control. Originally, Clownface began as a detached piece of Clayface's body that developed its own sentience, taking on the form of a mute elderly man. Discovered and sent to Arkham Manor due to his unresponsive nature, Clownface remained unnoticed until Bruce Wayne, undercover as Jack Shaw, recognized the truth but refrained from revealing his identity. The Joker, also in disguise at Arkham Manor as attendant Eric Border, later revealed himself and infected this Clayface fragment with Joker venom, reshaping it into a separate and deadly entity named Clownface. Clownface wreaked havoc within the manor, claiming multiple lives, until Batman and Victor Fries managed to subdue and freeze him. He was then stored in the manor's freezer until further handling. In a twist of events, when Jeremiah Arkham went insane and released all the inmates, masquerading as the Joker, Clownface escaped and clashed with the real Clayface, who sought to break free from the Joker-infested asylum. Mudface. Glory Griffin was a production assistant on the set of Basil Carlo's last film, Second Skin. She had the fateful encounter with the notorious Clayface and really admired Carlo, often chatting with him between takes. When Carlo attacked the production, Griffin tried to reason with him, attempting to prevent harm to the cast and crew by reminding him of his true self. Conflicting accounts suggest she was either doused with chemicals during the attack, as Batman believed, or drowned in the same chemicals as Carlo recalled. Regardless, this exposure left her with body properties akin to Clayface's, but without the ability to control them. She later joined the victim syndicate under the alias Mudface, using her newfound abilities for a different purpose. Peter Malley. One of Cassius Payne's Claythings fused with Dr. Peter Malley. He emerged with villainous powers akin to Preston Payne in Batman issue 550. He was famous as the Clayface Gorgon, notably because he had the ability to liquefy objects with a mere gaze. Even though the merge granted him with shape-shifting abilities, Peter Malley had a symbiotic connection with Payne's powers. However, this version of Clayface had a short-lived tenure in the comics. DEO agent Cameron Chase turned his own powers against him, resulting in his defeat and containment in cold storage. Additionally, Malley's character left little impact and has remained absent from the post-New 52 comic landscape. Cassius Payne. Cassius Clay Payne, the son of Sondra Fuller and Preston Payne, inherited a unique blend of their powers, making him a distinctive Clayface character. Introduced in Batman number 550, he possessed Sondra Fuller's shape-shifting abilities and Preston Payne's flesh-melting powers. Additionally, he could generate sentient duplicates of himself, which could bond with others, transforming them into Claythings. But Cassius Payne's powers came at a great personal cost, causing him intense pain when used. Notably, he was the only pure Clayface in the DC universe, born with innate meta-human abilities. His introduction into the DC universe, borrowing his name from the legendary boxer Muhammad Ali's original moniker, marked a memorable entry. Unlike many Clayfaces with tragic backstories, Cassius tended to lean more towards the sinister side as a character. While he has not made recent appearances, his criminal exploits left a lasting impression in the Batman mythos. Preston Payne. Preston Payne, the third Clayface, introduced a unique twist to the character's concept. He suffered from a rare genetic condition causing uncontrollable bodily changes and growth. Seeking a cure, Payne joined the Star Labs as a scientist in Detective Comics issue number 477 and underwent various experimental treatments until he was exposed to Hagen's metamorphic DNA, transforming him into an amorphous being reliant on a containment suit. However, his clay-like form lacked shape-shifting abilities and required an exoskeleton for stability. He survived by transferring his essence to others, dissolving them in the process. Preston Payne's complex character made him one of the more sympathetic Clayfaces despite his gruesome abilities. He also had a notable connection with Clayface Sondra Fuller after escaping Arkham Asylum together, and then went on to have a child named Cassius who followed his parents' footsteps. Sondra Fuller. Popularly known as Lady Clay, Sondra Fuller is officially recognized as the fourth Clayface whose powers originate from volunteering for a transformational process as part of the Cobra supervillain group. Introduced in Outsiders issue number 21, Fuller underwent experimental surgery similar to Matt Hagen, granting her shape-shifting abilities without his vulnerabilities. Notably, she could also mimic the powers and skills of those she imitated. Fuller played a significant role in the Mud Pack, a group formed by the original Clayface Basil Carlo. Within this team, she developed a romantic relationship with her predecessor Preston Payne, resulting in the birth of their child, Cassius Clay Payne. In the DC Rebirth continuity, her origin was reimagined, with government agents conducting experiments to create meta-humans. While the status of this revised background remains uncertain, Lady Clay has been part of the Gotham City Monsters group in recent DC publications. Despite her unique abilities and connections, Sondra Fuller remains a lesser-known Clayface in popular circles. John Carlinger. The variant of Clayface first appeared in the Detective Comics issue number 496 and belonged to Earth 1 in the DC Universe. Renowned actor and horror movie director John Carlinger assumed the role of Basil Carlo, the original Clayface, for nefarious purposes. Carlinger hosted a film exhibition on the Varania 3 yacht, but faced hostility from Basil Carlo himself for not receiving an invitation. In a violent encounter, Carlinger killed Carlo. Feeling threatened by actors demanding a financial audit of his production company, Carlinger used Carlo's Clayface persona to conceal his true intentions, and ruthlessly gunned down these actors during the exhibition. Batman, however, saw right through Carlinger's deception and noticed that the makeup used by Clayface was water-soluble, a trait inconsistent with Carlo's traditional grease paint. The Dark Knight exposed Carlinger's scheme and apprehended him, ending his brief stint as the fraudulent Clayface. Falseface, Batman TV series, 1966. The 1966 Batman series often created its own villains rather than using established comic characters. Surprisingly, Falseface, often considered a Clayface knockoff, originally debuted in the comics with a striking resemblance to Clayface, filling a similar role. Portrayed by Malachi Thorne, the character, while not necessarily lame, was a lackluster substitute for Clayface. Given that the early Basil Carlo version of Clayface was relatively more human around that time, it remains puzzling why they chose to introduce Falseface. The plot introduced Basil Carlo as a professional criminal who gained the power to mimic anyone's appearance after ingesting a chemical formula. However, this transformation came at the cost of losing his own identity and the ability to resemble himself. Falseface engaged in various crimes, including stealing the Marienburg crown and impersonating Police Chief O'Hara. Batman and Robin thwarted his schemes, leading to his capture. Annie, Elseworld and DCAU. This variant was first seen in the DC animated universe. After Clayface's dip into the ocean, his already unstable form began deteriorating further. However, exposure to chemicals from sewage pipes in the water unexpectedly restored him. Though weakened and disoriented, he used his shape-shifting abilities to create a little girl replica to explore his surroundings. Unfortunately, the girl forgot her mission upon leaving his presence and wandered into the city streets. Clayface, now rejuvenated, pursued the girl in the guise of a burly man. Terrified, she believed she was under attack. Robin intervened when gangsters threatened her, earning her trust. They named her Annie, based on a nearby child's Raggedy Ann doll, and embarked on a quest to uncover her identity. As clues surfaced, they returned to the sewer system, where Annie regained her lost memories. Clayface awaited them, urging her to join him. A confrontation ensued, leading Annie to make a courageous choice. She sacrificed herself to save Robin, and Clayface faced charges, including murder. Another version of Annie was featured on Elseworlds' Lil Gotham as part of Clayface, who later went on to gain freedom from the entity's dominance. Ethan Bennett, the Batman TV series. In the 2006 Batman TV series, Ethan Bennett, Bruce Wayne's best friend and Alan Yin's police partner, transformed into Clayface. The Joker subjected him to the Joker putty gas, leading to his Clayface transformation. Consumed by revenge, he targeted Chief Rojas, and Batman and Yin intervened. Ethan showed no remorse and continued his vendetta until Yin's heartfelt plea halted his rampage, forcing him to retreat into the sewers, leading Yin to see Batman as a true hero. Later, Clayface sought to eliminate the Joker, but was thwarted by Batman. Frozen temporarily, Ethan displayed signs of rehabilitation in Arkham. Bruce vouched for him at his trial and offered a job at Wayne Enterprises, but not everyone forgave him. Temptation led him back to crime as Clayface, prompting Batman to intervene again. Clayface made a comeback as the swamp zombie legend during Halloween, aiming to steal from Gotham's founders. Batman tracked him to the Gotham Wax Museum, where they clashed once more, ending with Clayface encased in hot wax. Ethan's final act involved capturing the Joker, but was stolen by Basil Karlo, an actor who became an even more powerful Clayface. Batman used a cure, successfully restoring Ethan while Karlo remained Clayface. Ms. Clay, DCAU movie. This character was a recruit for the Suicide Squad and former inmate at Belle Reve. Ms. Clay first appeared in Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, issue number 2. Originally a fragment of Clayface, she developed her own personality and gender over time. Efforts by Arkham Asylum doctors to reintegrate her into Clayface were unsuccessful due to their body's inability to merge, leading to her transfer to Belle Reve for observation. Ms. Clay possessed significant potential for covert operations, thanks to her ability to flawlessly mimic individuals, even fooling thumbprint and retinal scans. Her adaptable persona allowed her to fit seamlessly into various situations, making it challenging to construct a reliable psychological profile for her.
Not all at once.
Matt Hagen as Clayface from DCAU. On Earth 12, Matt Hagen was a skilled actor who suffered a severe facial injury in an accident. To conceal his disfigurement, he used an experimental cosmetic cream called Renew. Unfortunately, the cream's creator, Ronald Daggett, coerced him into working for his criminal endeavors. Under Daggett's influence, Hagen, disguised as Bruce Wayne, attempted to murder Lucius Fox but was thwarted by Batman. Daggett's henchmen later tried to eliminate Hagen by force-feeding him a large amount of Renew, which transformed him into a monstrous clay-like creature. Discovering his newfound powers, Hagen sought revenge against Daggett and attacked him. Batman intervened in their confrontations, attempting to reason with Hagen by showing him footage of his past acting roles. However, this triggered an uncontrollable surge in his powers, leading to a shocking accident that seemingly ended his life. It was eventually revealed that this Clayface was a decoy, and the real Clayface remained at large. He continued to clash with Batman and eventually joined Gorilla Grodd's secret society of supervillains. In a climactic battle with the Justice League, Clayface was annihilated when explosive rockets were planted within his form, sending him hurtling into the stratosphere, where he exploded into atoms.
You always fall for this gang.
Matt Hagen as Clayface from Earth 16. As a subpar member of the League of Shadows from Earth 16, Matt Hagen discovered he had cancer and believed the Lazarus Pits could cure him. To gain access, he began a relationship with Talia, who genuinely loved him despite her father's warnings of his ulterior motives. When Hagen's true intentions became clear, Talia decided to teach him a lesson and lured him into the Lazarus pit, sealing it shut, leaving him submerged. Only Sensei and Talia knew about this act. Months later, using Ras Al Ghul's use of the pit, Hagen emerged as a clay-like monster. He attacked Talia, but Ra's intervened and sent him to Gotham City, believing Batman would be occupied dealing with this transformed creature. Matt Hagen is Clayface from Earth-148. On Earth-148, Clayface was a renowned crime fighter in Gotham City, often partnering with Luthor to combat their universe's most dangerous criminals, including their counterparts, the villainous Batman and Superman. When Batman and Superman from Earth-1 accidentally arrived on Earth-148, Luthor and Clayface, mistaking them for unwanted felons, apprehended them despite the heroes' claims of innocence. However, when a device responsible for their dimensional transport was stolen from Luthor's lab, the heroes realized their error and joined forces with the Earth-1 Batman and Superman to capture the true criminals from Earth-148. Through combined efforts, Luthor and Clayface, along with Earth-1 heroes, succeeded in apprehending the evil counterparts. Following the Earth-1 heroes' guidance, they employed technology to transform their own Batman and Superman into heroes. Cassius Payne from Birds of Prey TV series. In CW's Birds of Prey TV series, Clayface was hired by the Joker to commit the murder of Catwoman. Eventually captured, he spent years confined to Arkham Asylum. During this time, his son Chris Cassius acquired similar powers. Huntress and Catwoman, Batman's daughter, visited Clayface, who became intrigued by Huntress's suffering. He requested her to pose as a model, but her refusal led to his confession of his crimes, igniting Huntress's intense anger. Clayface managed to escape from Arkham to confront his son, interrupting Chris Cassius's criminal activities. He confronted his son, recognizing that Chris aimed to prove his superiority, a motive that Clayface did not approve of. A clash erupted when the Birds of Prey intervened at a gala where Chris was causing havoc. After his defeat, Clayface expected Huntress to kill him, but Oracle persuaded her to spare him. Disappointed by the decision, he offered no resistance when the police arrested him and returned him to Arkham Asylum. Clayface pretending to be Guy Gardner from Earth-9. In this version, Clayface, operating as a counterintelligence agent under the alias Guy Gardner, joined forces with Jennifer Hayden, a former Nightwing agent aiming to oppose Superman's rule. While feigning cooperation, Clayface concealed his true identity. In a ruthless act, he killed an individual and then proceeded to eliminate Hayden by suffocation. Assuming her identity, Clayface received new directives from Superman himself. He was tasked with temporarily overseeing Earth during Superman's absence on New Earth, taking on a pivotal role in maintaining control over the planet. Basil Karlo from the Injustice universe. On Earth-49, Clayface was a long-time adversary of Batman. After his transformation into Clayface, he aligned himself with the Red Hood gang, renowned for his remarkable shape-shifting abilities. However, he later severed ties with the gang, putting him squarely on Batman's list of foes. Subsequently, Clayface was incarcerated in Arkham Asylum, only to be eventually relocated to the Trench. Later, Plastic Man played a role in his release. Clayface's criminal pursuits extended beyond Gotham City, leading him to cross paths with the Birds of Prey during a confrontation. In a mass release of Arkham Asylum inmates, Clayface regained his freedom. Despite his formidable strength, it took the intervention of Superman to bring him down. Basil Karlo in the Deceased universe. In this universe, Clayface was introduced as a Gotham City villain with his body made of elastic. He fell victim to the devastating anti-life virus outbreak that swept through either Metropolis or Gotham City. Transformed into an anti-living creature, Clayface launched an assault on a helicopter transporting the superhero Black Lightning and his two daughters. Superman intervened to rescue his fellow hero and his daughters from Clayface's menacing elastic tentacles, employing his heat vision to thwart the zombified villain's attack. Basil Karlo from the Flashpoint timeline. In this iteration, Clayface found himself among the members of Deathstroke's private crew, a motley crew assembled by Deathstroke after orchestrating a daring prison break. Invited to join this notorious crew, Clayface embarked on a criminal adventure on the high seas. However, Clayface's maritime escapade took a deadly turn when the crew's ship was attacked by Atlanteans, led by none other than Aquaman. In the midst of this brutal confrontation, Aquaman confronted Clayface, impaling him with his trident before casting him into the depths of the ocean. There, Clayface faced a gruesome fate, disintegrating as he fell apart in the water, meeting his demise at the hands of Aquaman. Basil Carlo in the Last Night on Earth storyline. This variant of Clayface found himself in a nightmarish reality where humanity had turned evil and slaughtered their once beloved heroes. In this dystopian world, Batman, now known as Omega, harnessed the power of the anti-life equation to control Clayface and others. Here, Clayface's primary role was to guard the Martian Manhunter, whose abilities were used to amplify the equation, ensuring Omega's tyrannical rule over the entire planet. Arkham Island served as the backdrop for this grim scenario. A glimmer of hope emerged when the Court of Owls, led by Wonder Woman, infiltrated the asylum using technology created by Mad Hatter. Their mission was to disrupt the villain's perception-altering broadcast, but Omega's forces quickly caught on, triggering a chaotic battle between Clayface and his fellow rogues against the court. Omega's eventual demise, brought about by his clone, marked a turning point. Clayface and his compatriots were finally freed from their malevolent control, but their ultimate fate remains shrouded in uncertainty. Clayface from Arrowverse. The Arrowverse saw more than one variation of Clayface. In his Earth 1 version, Basil Carlo, the infamous Clayface of Gotham City, possessed the remarkable ability to transform his body into a clay-like substance. This malevolent criminal found himself incarcerated within the infamous Arkham Asylum. Intriguingly, a fragment of his clay form was preserved as a peculiar trophy within the Batcave, serving as a reminder of his villainous exploits. Little did anyone suspect that this preserved fragment would play a pivotal role in the emergence of a new Clayface after the fragment came into contact with a student named Tanner Freer. This encounter led to Tanner Freer acquiring powers akin to those of Clayface, effectively becoming the second individual to bear the name and mantle of Clayface. On Earth 99, Clayface was again introduced as a notorious, shape-shifting criminal who rose to infamy in the darkened alleys of Gotham City. However, his criminal career took a deadly turn when Batman underwent a shocking transformation. Driven to the brink, Batman abandoned his no-kill rule and embarked on a brutal crusade against his adversaries. In this grim and altered reality, Clayface found himself among the unfortunate victims of Batman's ruthless campaign. Basil Carlo, the Batman TV series. In this 2006 TV series, Basil Carlo, hailing from Denver, Colorado, harbored dreams of stardom upon arriving in Gotham City. Frustrated by countless failed auditions, his aspirations took a dark turn when he saw a news report about the impending cure for the villainous Clayface, invented by Wayne Industries. Driven by a desire for fame and fortune, Carlo infiltrated Wayne Industries, stealing a vial of Clayface's transformative substance. During a pursuit, he ingested the serum, granting him Clayface's invulnerable powers. Carlo's newfound abilities served as tools for his criminal pursuits, particularly in high-profile bank heists, where he flaunted his escapades before security cameras. On the other hand, Ethan Bennett, reformed and seeking redemption, confronted Carlo using similar powers, but Batman intervened, administering an antidote to both Clayfaces, curing them temporarily. Within the confines of Arkham Asylum, Carlo forged an unlikely friendship with the Joker, sharing chess games. To his surprise, his elastic capabilities persisted. Later, he was recruited by Lex Luthor, joining forces with other powerful villains to orchestrate the kidnapping of Lois Lane, aiming to exploit Superman's weakness. However, their plan ultimately crumbled, resulting in defeat at the hands of the Man of Steel. Carlo's criminal endeavors also brought him into conflict with Batman during a rescue mission involving Poison Ivy. Despite his relentless efforts, he faced defeat once again. Clayface from Arkhamverse. During the Joker's takeover of Arkham Asylum, Clayface remained incarcerated and tried to outsmart Batman by assuming the appearances of individuals Batman was familiar with, like Warden Sharp, Officer Cash, and Commissioner Gordon. His goal was to trick the Dark Knight into setting him free, but Batman saw through the ruse and thwarted his escape attempt. Clayface's name appeared on the Joker's party list during this time. In the sequel, Arkham City, the Joker's health deteriorated rapidly due to the degradation of the Titan formula into toxic chemicals. To manipulate Batman into obtaining a cure, the Joker enlisted Basil Karlo, the shape-shifting Clayface, to impersonate a healthy Joker. Clayface played the role convincingly, even engaging in battles with Batman. Eventually, the ruse was exposed, leading to a showdown inside the Monarch Theatre. Batman, armed with Talia al Ghul's sword and Mr. Freeze's freezing bombs, managed to freeze and carve off Clayface's various clay pieces, eventually freezing his core body. In the final confrontation, Clayface was drawn into machinery around the Lazarus Pit and engulfed in flames, possibly resulting in his demise, or at the very least rendering him temporarily incapacitated. Basil Karlo in the Gotham TV series. In the Gotham TV series, Basil Karlo was among the deceased individuals resurrected by Professor Strange at Indian Hill, a facility controlled by a secretive Wayne Enterprises division dedicated to finding a cure for death. Upon resurrection, Basil, like others, had little memory of his past life. He underwent genetic splicing with octopod DNA, giving him an elastic and clay-like appearance. Professor Strange informed Basil about his identity and his skills as an actor. As part of Strange's plan, Basil was transformed to resemble James Gordon after kidnapping the real Gordon. Posing as Gordon, he ventured into the Gotham City Police Department. However, the GCPD soon realized the deception and exposed Basil as an imposter. Subsequently, the GCPD located the real Gordon at Indian Hill, leading to Strange's arrest on charges including kidnapping and illegal experimentation.
I've been practicing, and this Clayface sequel is bigger and better than the original.
Marvelous verdict. In this extensive exploration of Clayface's various versions, we have delved into the multifaceted world of this shape-shifting villain across various iterations and storylines within the DC Comics universe. From Basil Karlo, the original Clayface, to other incarnations like Sandra Fuller and Ethan Bennett, each version brought unique traits, motivations, and conflicts to the narrative. Over the decades, Clayface's ability to transform his appearance at will, whether for criminal endeavors or personal identity struggles, has made him a compelling and versatile character. Whether as a member of Batman's rogues gallery, a temporary anti-hero, or even an unfortunate victim of circumstances, the role of Clayface as a recurring character in the DC universe is emblematic of the complex and morally ambiguous nature of many comic book characters. His encounters with iconic heroes like Batman and Superman, as well as his involvement with various supervillain groups, have contributed to his rich and evolving storyline. Plus, Clayface's adaptability, both as a character and in his physical form, underscores his enduring presence in the world of comics and in other forms of media. Ultimately, the many iterations of Clayface serve as a testament to his enduring appeal of characters who straddle the line between hero and villain, constantly challenging our perceptions of identity, morality, and the consequences of extraordinary abilities. In the ever-evolving landscape of the DC tapestry, Clayface remains a character whose shape-shifting nature keeps readers and fans engaged and intrigued. So now that we have reached to the very end of this video, which Clayface, according to you, is the most frightening and powerful version of the character? Please let us know in the comment box below.